Real quick, shout out to the sponsors, Prime XBT. As you guys know, these streams have been sponsored and partnered with Prime for going on 2 years now. So I really appreciate the support from the Prime team and everything they've done. So if you want to support me, best way to do that is to support Prime. Use the link in the description, input code MAIN50, get a 7% deposit bonus up to $7,000. So that'd be a 100K deposit. I still have some of those 20% deposit codes. So if you are going to sign up, you want a 20% deposit code, shoot me a DM before you do so. I'll get you set up with that. But yeah, shout out to the Prime team. Thank you for the support. Let's get into it. So as you guys know, we had the short, right, that I have now fully closed. So I took full profit on my short here. This was a short trade that took an entire month to play out. Very basic 101 trader main setup. So we had our SFP on the weekly down to the 12-hour chart. We have our breaker here on the 12-hour right there. And we had our market structure break, which is this same low. So we broke market structure right here, which means any of these retests are sellable, right? Had another SFP into the zone. So that was the short I entered. This is June's range. I'm going over this very quickly because we have covered this in the last 3 or 4 streams. This is June's range. We failed at the high. Target 1 is June's mid-range. Target 2, June's low. So once we came into the low here, I TP'd 50%. And then once I saw start to consolidate around here, I closed the rest of the trade because I think we could get some mean reversion before more potential downside. So where are we right now with regard to price? So if you look at the chart on the weekly here, we still have June's range here, which we have SFP'd on the weekly. We've SFP'd a major swing low, and we're retesting this weekly breaker. So the bullish argument is that this is the low, or pretty damn close. Like maybe we sweep this one more time, but the bullish argument is that this box and this run of liquidity is going to be the low before a leg higher. That is the only bullish argument going on right now, in my opinion, is that we have basically put in a bottom here. Whether or not we sweep this low again, I don't know. But effectively, this liquidity being run, and then maybe one more second run of this low, the initial dump is it. And we need to go up. We effectively need to see what happened here play out here, in my opinion, for us to trade to 32K and potentially, you know, up into here, 35, 40K. This, in my opinion, needs to be where the low forms. I do not think that if we trade down here, all of a sudden we do this. I think if we trade down below this low, the likelihood of us making new lows is substantially higher than it is right now. Because you could argue at this point we have a higher low, and then this could be our higher low. But if we lose this area, I think new lows much more likely. So that's why I have 25K as kind of critical support here. If you just put a line here at 25K, you can kind of see, right? This is the top here, the top here, the bottom here, now the bottom here again. It's a key zone. We do not want to fall back within this FTX range, right? This is the dump from FTX. Ranged, ran the low, broke out, retested, pushed, failed to make a new high. We're retesting it again. So if we break back into this range, to me, the likelihood of us going to the lower part of the range again is much higher. I really want to see price kind of hold where we are in general right now. Do we swipe this low again? I don't know. But in general, if you look at crypto, you usually don't get the dump and then another dump to get on board. It's usually the spike, that was your chance, and it just fucking rips. That's the kind of PA, the stuff that we saw right here. And similarly, what we saw here even. Spike the low, reverse. Spike the low, reverse, question mark. If this is bullish, I think it needs to go up from this area. I don't really want to see it trade much lower. We'll start with the bullish argument, and then I'll talk about some of the bearish factors that we need to be aware of. I know some people are going to say, hey guys, we didn't swipe June's low on other exchanges. So that's why I'm saying I don't know if this is the low according to this Bybit chart or not yet, because some of the spot exchanges, for example, did not run June's low yet. Bybit actually spiked a lot lower than some other exchanges. I'm focusing on the chart that I'm trading, but that's why I'm leaving it as a possibility that maybe we need one more spike lower and then we need to clear out June's low across those other exchanges. That's absolutely possible. But the concept here, the idea on the whole, is that this is where the bottom needs to form. So let's wait and see if that is the case. Now, we have our demand here. We have a weekly SFP. If the monthly closes how it is right now, we'll have a bullish monthly SFP within a monthly bullish order block. So these are all good things for the bulls. You go down to the 12-hour. First thing I did was I said, okay, if we get a 12-hour SFP here, I think you can get in a long on the hourly. And that's the trade I took. And I posted this again on Instagram, on Twitter, on Telegram, in Friend Tech. I posted it everywhere, in Discord, obviously. So we had the H12 SFP. I marked out the H1 breaker, and then we had the market structure break. Limit orders were set right there. I gave you guys the entire trade. Stop, entry, target. I gave you it all. I even told you when I was taking profit. So this ran for about 1.5 hours. And I said, listen, we are coming into a 12-hour fair value gap right here. This is a big 12-hour fair value gap. So I would like to see this fair value gap, at least 50% of it get filled. So we just tagged it and we pulled back. And I said, listen, there is a potential that we pull back to the entry here. So take some profit. But I said, if we close the 12-hour as a bullish market structure break above this high, which we did, I said, now we have an H12 breaker, which you can see here, that is a stronger setup. So not only do we have our H1 breaker play that we entered on, now we have an H12 breaker play. So this is the up candle before the down move that caused the SFP. So what do I want to see in here? I want to see my H1 play set up. So to me, the setup is super duper clear here on the long side. We've got the range low test. If we can set up the long here, to me, the target is the mid-range. If we can get above the mid-range, then by all means, go and look for 32K. But for now, we're just targeting the mid-range. Even less than the mid-range, I'm targeting about the middle of this fair value gap, which is around 27.5. But from here to here is the game plan for now. So I'm still holding part of my long, and I'm waiting to compound on that trade because my stop is quite wide, right? I had my stop down here. I got in here, I TP'd here. I'm still holding some of the position. What I want to see now is I would like to see this low here on the 12-hour get SFP'd. So I'd like to see us trade a little lower, but then SFP this low. And then I want to go down on the hourly and I want to find my entry. Let's assume that this looks like it could do it while we're on stream right here. Let's assume this trades like this and then it SFPs this low on the 12-hour. Then great. There's my breaker. I'm looking to get compounded on my long here, and then my stop that is here, I would bring up to this low. Okay, so that is the very fucking clear game plan. If you're not long already, I just explained exactly how I plan on getting more long and how I'm managing my risk. Okay, so hopefully that's super duper clear. I would like to see this H12 low get taken out, and then I will look for my H1 setup, and then I will target the mid-range. Super clear, super simple, and this is just June's range. Play it as a range, right? If we get bullish, target here. If we get bullish above here, target here. If we come up to the mid-range and then start rejecting, guess what? Target back to the range low. This is a critical area. If we fail to hold this zone, the likelihood of new lows is much higher in my opinion. But we want to maintain these higher lows or else it's going to be very, very long winter in crypto. So that's the long scenario. So what is the bearish scenario? What is the reason I have this here? Well, if you've been following me on Twitter, this initial tweet was about the dollar, July 18th. I said, we're at big support here. That was right here. Big support. This is when I posted the market maker buy model. And I said, hey, this looks like it wants to fully be bought back. I posted the, model where it's like this. I said, this looks like it wants to trade all the way back to 104, 105. So if you went and followed my tweets, I said, I think the dollar goes back to 104, 105. And this is all happening. So the dollar is putting in bullish price action while Bitcoin is failing to break out. Those are the times when the correlation works really well. People always ask, oh, well, the correlation is not 1-to-1. Dollar went up and Bitcoin went up. You got to pick your spots. The most important times for the correlations generally are when Bitcoin's at big resistance, dollars at big support, and vice versa. Dollar at major resistance, Bitcoin at major support. Those are the instances where that correlation makes more sense. So my last tweet about this until the one today was on August 16th. I said, the dollar keeps going higher. In my opinion, SPX and Bitcoin is a low probability until the dollar cools off. What happened next? Bitcoin ate shit. So now Bitcoin has had the big dump here that has been reflected in the large up move that we've seen on the dollar, right? There's the Bitcoin move, there's the dollar move. So for Bitcoin to go up and to trade to 32K or higher, wherever we think it might go, we need this to find resistance. And right now, to me, this looks very strong still. The area that I'm looking at is right here, and I see this high. right here. This would be an area where I could see price spiking, and then maybe that's where a lower high forms. But for now, right, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green weeks in a row on the dollar. So this needs to turn around before Bitcoin has a shot. The other thing that doesn't look great is equities, right? I drew out this order block. I said, I think we trade to here. Absolutely nuked off of it. Look at that weekly candle. That's not a good looking candle with 1 day to go in the week. So we need the dollar to cool off if we're expecting Bitcoin to get a bounce, get some support. But for now, we're holding June's range. But the bearish scenarios are that the dollar looks strong still and equities still look weak. So my plan for the long is purely technical here. I said this in tweets as well. I've been feeding you guys the alpha lately. I said, I'm only interested in a technical long if I see the price action, which I've explained here. This is a technical long that I'll take. Or if we get some sort of narrative driven move, like a positive ETF decision. If we come out here, Grayscale has approved the Bitcoin ETF, by all means, I want to potentially long into that type of hype. But the fact that we've had this bullish headwind and the price just hasn't gone up, in my opinion, is not great. So the only reason I'm in this long right now is the technical reasons. Narratively for Bitcoin, I'm not really interested in buying spot here. If we get the bullish ETF news, maybe I'd be interested in buying spot, but I'm not really interested in buying spot right here. I'm only interested in longing this purely based on the technicals. Because honestly, if we don't get the bullish news soon and this starts to trade lower, I don't see why I can't buy spot closer to 20,000. I'd be much more interested in buying spot down here than up here. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for now, I'm in that long that I posted. I took some profit. Now I'm waiting to see if we get a bullish H12 setup within this H12 zone. That's it. That's simple. Not trying to overcomplicate it. It's purely technical trade. And it's exactly how I've been teaching you guys how I take these setups for going on 5 years now, right? We've got the bullish market structure break, got the bullish SFP. We've returned to the area of interest. Now we need to see if the price action on the low time frames is going to give us that clue that the bulls are stepping in. And what does that look like? I want to see a low time frame low get run. I want to see market structure shifts and displacement. And that is going to be my clue to get involved on the low time frame. So that what I just drew, I need to see it happen in here. And ideally the low that gets run are these ones. Like I hope that we're engineering liquidity right here. So I would like to see this, right? Like this is the kind of shit I'd like to see to get compounded on my long and then adjust my stop to that new low. So that's very straightforward game plan for Bitcoin. Otherwise, play this as a range, right? We're in June's range. Very well could just be due for the squeeze up to here and then we could dump down again. So that's something that's completely possible. Like if you look at the weekly chart, big sell-off, broke that low. We very easily could trade up like this into here, deviate, back in, nuke it. That would look very bad. If this happens, much lower, in my opinion, is coming. But for now, I'm gonna ride this long. I'm gonna assume that we're holding this range low support and hope that we can get a little bit of a push up. So Ethereum, in my opinion, looks a little uglier. I like where Ethereum BTC is at. Like I think that this, if this is gonna go up, this should be the higher low here for a move higher. And if that's the case, you'd like to think that Ethereum USD would start to look pretty good. Setup is essentially the same, just weaker. Bitcoin swept this high. Ethereum made a very clear lower high. But we have the breaker here, this up candle before the down move that took out a low. And we've swept that low here into the breaker. We're within June's range. Again, failed at the high, ran the low. We're putting in the weekly SFP. So the setup is effectively identical. It just seems a little weaker. Like we didn't have an SFP here. Bitcoin, we had an H12 SFP. We did not on Ethereum, right? We didn't get the SFP there. So to me, I just like the setup on BTC better, but similar to BTC, I would like to see Ethereum hold this kind of general area. If you're looking at this on the weekly chart, we're in dangerous territory here because this is starting to look like a very clear lower high. And if we break this low, and close below there, looks bad, probably go down to this low. So again, not really interested in buying spot here because I think I can buy it closer to 1,000, but let's wait and see. And just from a purely technical perspective, I like the setup on Bitcoin more on the long side, but you can trade Ethereum the exact same way. Here's June's range, ran the high, now we ran the low. If we're gonna bounce from here, the immediate target is the mid-range. Let's get into the dollar here. Another big push up today. I mentioned I could see us come up into this this high here, and this would be the high I'd be monitoring. If we sweep this high, then in my opinion, there's a very good chance that we see some sort of reversal and pullback, which could be in line with Bitcoin and Ethereum getting a relief bounce. We also could technically SFP this high if tomorrow's candle is super bearish, right? So if we get a very bearish kind of close tomorrow and it manages to close back below that high, that's going to add confluence for our Bitcoin long. But if this closes how it is now, to me, this is the high to watch. And until this cools off, there's no 32K Bitcoin or higher. Right? Like if we sweep this and then start pulling back, then maybe we start thinking about a swing long on Bitcoin. Just like the swing short on Bitcoin, which played out up here, was based on the fact that the dollar was bottoming out. I took that short on Bitcoin on July 16th, excuse me, right here. What happened on July 16th on the dollar? It bottomed. Let's look at equities here. So I had this chart, I posted this. A few people asked me, they're like, why are you not using this order block here or this one here? It's the daily. I like the 12-hour chart, but I said, okay, here's our daily swing from this high to this low. Where's the order block? Right there. So when we were trading down here, I said, I think we trade up to here. And then we got a perfect H1 sell trigger. I did not take it. I was not awake. But we came into the daily order block, What did we do? H1 SFP, H1 break in market structure. There's your retest, nuked it. Where'd it go to? Internal range liquidity, filled in these fair value gaps. Nuked it. Is it a strong move? Yeah, look at that bearish fair value gap. There's sponsorship behind that move. Putting in another bearish fair value gap right now. So I didn't take this trade, but this was clean. I know some of you took it because I had a few of you DM me being like, hey man, what did you think about this trade? I'm like, it's a great trade. I gave you the order block, and you know, if you had the wherewithal to go in and execute on that, this was picture perfect. The 15-minute was super clean as well. There's your sweep, market structure break. There's your breaker. Here's a bearish order block that caused another market structure break, retest, bang. So that was a very nice short. I didn't take it. Again, not claiming that I took it. Now looking at our structure here, if we close below here, right, that's a bad look. If the bulls are going to save this, it needs to hold this low, in my opinion, or else this is a lower high and we're going much lower. So again, need to see dollar cool off for this relief to happen. To me, this move up was primarily driven by the Nvidia move, right? The tech move that Nvidia it went up like 10% after hours on positive earnings. To me, that was what fueled that move. But this was resistance that I had laid out for you guys. I drew the arrow. I said up into here. I didn't take the short, unfortunately. GG to those who did. It's Friday tomorrow. I'm not interested in taking equities trades on Fridays. This is for the serious investors, okay? Does Zoot mean the same thing as it did 20 years ago? I don't know what Zoot means now. For me, where I get a little upper decky in, a little lip pillow, a little upper decky, back mouth, top shelf where mom keeps the cookies, a little Zimbabwe, little Gentlezin, little Zinedine Zidane, Sidney Crosby perhaps, Alexander Ovechkin. I've got more, just ask. Okay, does everyone understand what the fuck I'm saying here? Sinead O'Connor, I love it. The boys know what's good. Bro, you have no idea. No idea. To me, it's disgusting. I only have 40,000 followers. I have 600 YouTube videos. I was the first motherfucker on all of crypto Twitter posting about ICT stuff. Everyone's doing it now. I was the first. Trust on that. I give it all to you for free.
And I will not let you down.
You know, you're welcome. What a LARP. I'm trying to live my life, man. Zdeno Chara, exactly, bro. Disgusting candle. What is going on? What the fuck is going on? I have no idea. Well, that didn't work, did it? Kind of messy, to be honest with you. Xenal messy. You're welcome.